All right, so I'll clear these off a little bit and stand up and stretch a little bit.
Okay, so we had some people join the chat room after the fact. So what happened there is that Tucker and I were playing a game.
Right.
Tucker took a fleet of Klingon ships. I took a fleet of Keldons, and we played a game. And we sent our moves to Will, and then Will executed all the maneuvers. He had a dice roller for everything. And so basically, you saw the first... I'm actually going to say the first ever game of Star Trek Attack Wing played out over 3 states.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, there was the online one that someone tried to make like about a year back, but I haven't heard anything from him lately. But that was still only 2 people.
Hey, David, are you near the ocean at all, or are you like in the middle?
I'm in the middle.
Oh, because I was going to say it could literally have been a coast-to-coast game.
Yeah.
So, post-mortem on that. I'm going to say this once, and then we're not going to talk about it anymore because I don't like complaining about dice. But holy shit!
Oh, those dice.
Oh my god. Okay. But with that said, I think here was the most critical misplay I made. When I one-banked Martok into that group of Keldons.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason, if I had 4-forwarded, the entire point of Insha was to get past you and then 3 come about.
Mm-hmm.
Which would have...
You guys didn't know it, but I muted you for a couple times and just spoke right to the audience about what I thought was going to go on in strategy-wise, and that was one of the things I brought up.
Yeah, and I mean, okay. So that was the intent. I should have... I don't know why David did what he did there. So can you tell me why you decided to... At that point, you basically turned everything towards...
He was back here, and everything was basically banked, and SAR did a hard turn towards the planet.
Right.
So it was kind of like that with Martok stuck out in here.
Yeah. So at that point,
no. I meant the turn way before that. The first time Martok hit your ships.
That wasn't the turn. I thought that was the turn he did the 3 turn.
I hit his ships twice. Like, Martok consistently kept slamming into his ships.
Yes.
I mean, look, this turn that Will is trying to set up was also a time where if I had been a little bit more aggressive in my maneuvering, I could have made it past him and 3 come about. But I was watching it, and I think I actually, in order to do that, I would have had to have hit New Dock. So that was not great. But no, it was like the first turn of the engagement, and Martok hit your ships, right? Because he gave Worf the free action with the fleet captain.
Oh no, you bumped into Worf. Is what happened in the first initial engagement.
Was when you bumped into your own ship.
He hit Worf? I thought he hit a...
You either hit Worf or you hit New Dock.
I don't...
Because what you did was you had your guys in kind of formation-iness, kind of like that. You had this guy come this bank, this guy go this bank, and Martok did forward. Because that was the only turn you were. That was the only turn you gave Worf the ability through Martok's ability, through the fleet captain.
That shouldn't have been the case because Martok did a 4-forward that turn.
Mm-hmm.
That was turn 3.
You did a 4-forward into a 3-bank, I believe. Yeah, so the way you had your ships basically set up was kind of in this this little street formation, this little slant formation.
Yeah.
3 bank. Put him right in front of you. 4 forward.
Should have cleared it, see?
Oh, but there was another ship in front of that or something.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, I get what you're saying now.
Yeah, he would have. Yeah, he ended up behind behind Warp. That's correct. But
Yes.
it was because he.
But it was because there was another ship in front of Worf.
Right. Exactly. So if he had, I don't know what I should. I guess that was just a failure to account for David's movement. But if I had made it past him, I could have done a 3 combat as well, which would have put me behind David from quite a bit on, and that I think that would have really changed the tenor of things.
Mm-hmm. So here's a question for you, Tucker. Just starting from the bones of the build, 3 projected stasis fields?
So that was more for the attack cancellation than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Again, if Martok hadn't hit, another option would have been for him to PSF Dukat, then have Martok and Worf fire on Sar in the hopes of killing him before he could shoot.
Mm-hmm.
What I had hoped to do was, depending on how David set up, I was considering a straight joust.
Mm-hmm.
And because if we do a straight joust, I can PSF him on the 1 turn we're basically in range, maybe take a turn of attacks, and then 3 combat to be behind him.
Mm-hmm. Like the downside I'm seeing of PSF is not only are you also reducing your shields and attack dice, but you also can't be cloaked when you do it, and that's kind of antithetical to a lot of the way most Klingon battles start.
That's true, but given now, David apparently has the magic dice. Oh, I'm sorry, I said I wouldn't say that. Basically, Hey,
if you had more than 1 defense die, you might have had magic dice too.
Maybe, but the thing is, like, I consider canceling half your attacks, which would have amounted to 14 attack dice,
mm-hmm.
14 attack dice, better than having cloaks.
Yeah. Really, at the end of the day, because dice are streaky, no matter what.
Mm-hmm. And I don't like to depend on dice. Mm-hmm. So I will pay the points and do the attack cancellation all day, every day.
So here's a question for David. Initially, you were set up in kind of this neat little, center of the board, side of the board, pincer formation, and then you just kind of ended up pushing everyone together in just one big kind of forward push. Was that your original intent from the beginning of the game?
Yeah.
Because I was thinking you might try some kind of pincer movement. Like one side goes one way around the planet, one goes the other.
Really, my intent was, with the flagship, I needed my ships together.
Mm-hmm.
But the key was, if Tucker had staggered his ships, my fleet was set up, and if you notice, my fleet was kind of running in a line.
Mm-hmm. A little conga line that kept bumping a little bit.
Yeah, but if you notice, the bumping, the biggest bump turn happened before engagement ever happened, and I think that was a turn where I had 3 bumps.
Mm-hmm.
So that wasn't a huge issue. Some of the other bumps happened. I think a lot of that is coming from trying to move 4 ships and not seeing it.
Mm-hmm.
If I can see it, I'll bump, but not nearly as much.
And I mean, like, imagine if I had done that one forward that I didn't think I could fit in. I could have target locked Dukat.
Reroll 2 attack dice.
But realistically, this fleet was set up to start covering different angles. Tucker couldn't get alongside of me to discourage sensor echoing. As it was, he never was cloaked, so it wasn't a problem. But Yeah. I don't know. It didn't end up. It ended up that I didn't need to fly as fancy as I did, but I think it worked out.
So one other thing I want to mention. I had a choice after turn 1, and I think I made the wrong choice.
The decloaking?
Partially that, because it goes toward this.
Or the going straight for going for like a sideways joust instead of booking it around the far side of the planet.
Which is exactly what I think I should have done in retrospect.
Mm-hmm. With Cloak and Sensor Echo, you can get... It might be tough with the Keldons with their 4 banks, but you should be able to get a little bit farther than they do in each turn.
Yeah, and yeah, basically yes. I think that's what I should have. That's what I should have done. But I made a couple of decisions. One of them was I was going to PSF. By the way, there are a couple of ways to use projected stasis field, as Klingon players know.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is to basically do what I did, use it as a temporary shield and a way to get your opponent's shields down for attacks. The other way to do it is because what's fun is you can PSF through a planet if necessary. So being able to come around a corner, well, planets don't have corners, but come around a hard turn or something, and then you know, one of your ships will be in firing arc, and then have one of your other ships PSF the ship that's in arc, which is part of why I had 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
In retrospect, I probably, like, my game plan when I made this fleet was to make better use of the planet. I got a little worried by David's pincer maneuver, so I decided not to do that. But I should have done that, because that was the game plan, and I should have stuck to my game plan.
Plans are very important. It keeps you from panicking. Well, on the very front of the Star Trek Attack Wing rule book, it has in big friendly letters, "Don't panic," right?
Yeah. It should.
It used to, but that was errated to Worf to read "Victory is life."
Victory for the Founders,
or something like that. I don't know.
Wait.
Isn't there? What's the normal response to "Victory is life"? Is that all it is?
I actually remember one of my favorite things was there's this guy Emil in who ironically I lost to the last time besides RAF2 I ran this build in a tournament. That was the Tholian Web. So the mistake I made with Tholian Web was forgetting to decloak, and I couldn't use my PSFs against his Borg spheres.
Oh my.
Yeah, that was not my finest hour as a attacking player.
PSF is definitely more efficient against larger pointed ships.
Yeah, and I mean against the Borg, you know, with their 0 defense dice, and I was running that fleet. I had 3 Vorchas, and it was Martok, Gowron, and Worf, and it was Martok 8, so that would have been ugly. Anyway, but he always used to. He said to me before the game, you know, this delightful Russian or Slavic of some kind, I should say, accent. You know, I must tell you that resistance is futile. And I say to him, well, in that case, today is a good day to die. And he says, and now that we've exchanged our traditional pleasantries, let us get down to business. I love playing against that guy. He always makes me laugh, and I don't think I've ever beaten him, but I always have a fun time playing against him. He's really good.
Nice. All right. So thank you once again, everyone, for joining us for our inaugural attempt at an internet live cast game. Let us know what you think. This will only be up on YouTube because, well, it doesn't really make a lot of sense to put it on the podcast since it was a highly visual component. But if you can think of anything to improve the experience for you, the viewers at home, and maybe to help the players continue as well, We would appreciate any suggestions you have. Any news in the Star Trek world for this week? We've got Nationals information up, which is nice. Which is going to be pretty much identical to regionals, except the wave cap is going to be wave 14, and nothing from Q Continuum or beyond. And
no Elite Attack Die or Command tokens. Not that you were going to take those.
Correct. But they did rule that OP3, whatchamacallit, the resources were still in it. So that means flagships will still exist for this tournament.
And sideboard.
So that'll be something we'll, of course, discuss in greater detail. I don't know, next week, maybe the week after, we'll have to see.
Especially once we know if they're using different sector conditions or not.
Mm-hmm. I was assuming the same sector conditions, but you make a good point. They might be making up new sector conditions for us.
I'd really like it if they did. Sector conditions, as I've said before, the more sector conditions we have, the better, because I feel that we could go a long way by placing 6 obstacles and having a sector condition.
I think that would be cool.
Yeah, because then we can start building a portfolio of sector conditions to actually have for games. And that could go a long way.
Any other news you guys can think of?
Wave 12 drops in the U.S. tomorrow.
Theoretically.
Hakona's mine.
Go get your Hakonas. Go get your Tholian swarms. Or not. I don't know.
But they look darn cool though.
Yeah, go get one. Get a couple of lights, put it in a box, and light it up real cool, like spotlights and stuff. That'll be something nifty.
Make a nice little shadow box out of it.
Yeah.
All right. Beyond that, I think that's everything. All right. Sounds good to me then. Thank you all for joining us. We're glad to have you. We will resume our regularly scheduled State of the Federations in the following weeks. And yeah, David, Tucker, give a shout out to everybody. Thanks for the game.
Yeah, thank you for the game. Good game, Tucker. I know those dice were terrible, but it was still fun playing.
Look, I mean, there were major tactical errors I made. Like, I can't blame it on the dice. The dice didn't help, but I can't blame it on the dice. I mean, look, let's say it had gone the other way. The dice had been amazing for me and terrible for you. At that point, the only reason I would have won would have been the dice.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, shout out to everyone. And as one final question, because I know there's somebody listening who's got a burning question, and I know I'm going to say it just for him. Everybody, I want you to consider for next week, what is the deal with airplane food?
Oh, God. Thanks for joining us, guys. Play more Star Trek. And until next time, may Q be generous with your dice. Ensign, get us out of here.
Please.